Hey yo, and welcome back to another Borderlands 4 related video. This one is similar to my last video, but I really wanted to just do more. I know there's a lot of videos on this topic at the moment, and a few people on Reddit didn't really appreciate me asking and adding to the huge amounts of posts with a similar topic. But either way, I find it fun and to see what people have to say. The more ideas get thrown around and the more chats we have as a community, the better in my opinion. We need to talk about stuff like this. It's fun to bounce ideas. It's fun to have an idea of what we want from a game, you know? Right, moving on, here are some of the takes that people had. Right, so the first one we've got on this list is 3 with a better story. Everyone knows that one. Some people agree, some people don't agree. I'm kind of slightly on board with it. Needs some tweaks and changes for me though. Next up we have, if you're going to make it to where we don't have to turn in quests, please stop making the last part of the quest to talk to the quest giver. It's the same thing. I feel like we did have a little bit of that in Borderlands 3, but I completely understand. I don't understand why I have to run all the way back to the quest giver when all I have to do is just echo net them and tell them it's done. And they can just mail everything over. There's a mailing system in Borderlands 3. Use that to your advantage for your quests if needed. So I'm on board with that one. Then we have in Borderlands 2, if you hold down the weapon swap button, it pulls up a quick swap menu where if you press the arrow down, it quick swaps to the 4th weapon instead of having to press the swap until you get to the 4th weapon. It's a small thing, but I think it'll be nice to have again. I'm actually not too sure if that doesn't exist. I'm pretty sure it does exist. But I think you have to go into your key bindings for it. I don't know, someone let me know in the comments down below. I'm on mouse and keyboard, so it's completely different for me. This guy says, it's very possible I could get hate for this, but I think I'd like to see a shot taken at a full open world game with loading areas being broken up by planets instead of zones. I don't want a soulless gigantic mega planets, but thought out land masses, 1 or maybe 2 on each planet. It definitely make vehicles a lot more important and a good way to add side content. I feel like this wouldn't be too bad of an idea. I think my only concern would be memory within those zones, if that makes sense. If you fully flesh out these huge open world zones and then you've got all flashing lights and a load of shit basically everywhere, it might cause some issues with rendering and loading everything in. Borderlands does get a bit hectic every now and then, but nonetheless, cool idea. This next one's super long, but I think we're just gonna knock it out anyways. So he's got a list of 6 things. Number 1, final and end game bosses that are actually formidable. Tyrene was a complete jerk. The trial bosses were just bullet sponges, more stuff like Captain Haunt, Valkyries, Wotan, Handsome Sorcerer. Is that 1B? Oh, as in 1B. Oh, okay. Unpopular opinion, but one tapping bosses is boring. Would be cool if the game kept bosses in line with your power level, so that it was always a challenge, offset with this keeping the drop rates on the higher end. Number 2 on his list is dedicated drops. That one is a given. It needs to have dedicated drops. The game cannot launch without dedicated drops. Number 3, good mix on it of endgame content. Yeah, more raid bosses. Keep the raid dungeons, the takedowns, I'm all for that. Circle of Slaughters were great. The DLC mini raids. I actually think that something we missed out on quite a lot was more of actual DLC campaign raids. Stuff in that would have been amazing to have, and for some reason we just didn't see them. He also says add something like the Chaos Chamber. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I don't remember an explorable level as difficult as Caustic Caverns in Borderlands 3. Bring something like that back. Caustic Caverns never felt for me actually, yeah, it wasn't as difficult. It was amazing to explore though. It's definitely one of my favourite zones in Borderlands 2. His number 4 is able to replay DLC stories. I'm all down for that. That's banging. Love that idea. Number 5, at least one DLC Vault Hunter. There needs to be a DLC character, at least one. 100%. I really didn't enjoy the skill trees that got brought into Borderlands 3. It didn't make me want to come back and play through the game again and experience it. It just felt stale to me and a bit rushed out, so I agree with that one. And number 6 was good story and by extension a good villain, so that's his huge list. I'm down for pretty much all of those. I'm liking the way that's going. This next guy says, seeing this kind of late, hope you're still looking for wishlist, but my friend and I brought up one the other day about customizable guns, like gun mods. I actually see them doing something like this. It seemed to work for COD and even Fortnite. I can see gun mods, scopes, suppressors, grips being a cool little addition. I don't see that as being like a bad idea whatsoever, but we also do kind of have that built into the game with when you're farming weapons. I feel like the issue in Borderlands 3 with stuff like that is there's so many weapons that are dropping constantly and you look out for anointments a lot of the time instead, so you don't actually care as long as it's got that anointment on it you want. And moving into the next one is, I don't want to see anointments anymore. Keep it like it was in Borderlands 2. Personal opinion, completely agree. Cannot stand anointments. I only ever play Borderlands on Redux at the moment with Borderlands 3 because I just can't stand having anointments in the game. But again, that's my personal opinion. Everyone can have their own. Just a side note before the last few that I do, if you're enjoying the video so far, if you can leave a like or a comment or a sub or anything like that, it'd be much appreciated. These videos are fun to do. Like, I've only just started doing stuff like this, but there'll be definitely a lot more Borderlands content on the way and a load of random challenges and fun stuff, so stay tuned for that. I think I'm going to do maybe 3 more from here, so on to the next one. This one's a small one, which is, might be a hot take, but I loved weapon proficiencies from the first game. I don't know why they ever stopped it. I loved weapon proficiencies. I feel like if they expanded on that kind of a little bit more, and we'd get a little bit more bonuses from them, some unique stuff, I really could see that coming back. I don't know why they haven't brought it back yet. A lot of people seem to like it. I don't see the problem with it coming back. Then we have no more unnecessary invincibility stages. That's a given. If I want to murder a boss and do it in one hit, I should be able to. Like, I should be able to make a build that can do that instead of having to wait around. I don't mind invincibility stages when there's actually something to do during, but when there's nothing to do during it, you just stood around aimlessly and it gets a little bit boring and stale. And finally, we're going to do this one, which says, personally, I want to get off Sanctuary free. I really dislike it as a hub space. It was too cramped and didn't leave as much room for exploring or secrets like Sanctuary in Borderlands 2. I'd rather have more of a city/town hub than a spaceship again. With this one, I also agree. Sanctuary 3 felt like a really cool idea at first because you're in space, and until you realise that you are super cramped in, it is quite claustrophobic, and there isn't really much exploring to do. In Borderlands 2, I was able to like parkour around everywhere and have a bit of a laugh with it, but in this, it's too cramped, so I'm not too much of a fan either. I would like to go back to a city/town hub, or at least have multiple so we can have both. Right, that's going to do it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope the people on Reddit don't get too pissy with me for adding to their whole list of random other wish lists they have on there. It was unintentional, but hopefully I want to do a video maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, so stay tuned for any of those. Feel free to sub, leave a comment, leave your thoughts down below about anything, and I'll get back to you. Bye.